Meeting to order. Roll call, Supervisor Gama, Meadows, John Franco, Chief Gray, William Grady present. Excuse our Supervisor Belsky and Supervisor Decker.
Welcome to Alexander Nardi, our youth governance representative for our committee.
Good, thank you. I just my own information, I should probably know this question. Do we have another youth and governance?
Need to send
You can join us in private.
Mr. County Park. This is the maze of a building.
Youth and governance and, oh, he's out there for him. They're coming.
Oh, okay. There we
That
go.
answers that one.
So we've satisfied our roll call requirement. We may have additional people filter into our meeting, which is fine. What about citizens' comments? Are there any citizens who would like to address this gathering? You have 5 minutes to do so. Once, twice, seeing none, citizens' comments are closed. Approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Has the committee had a chance to take a look at those, review those, and
To approve the minutes.
motion? So Supervisor Gray makes a motion to approve the previous minutes, and we have a second to that. Supervisor Gama seconds. Comments on the previous minutes? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Youth and governance, what is your preference on the previous minutes? You can say move to approve or no. Approve. Perfect, thank you. Next particular item on our list is chairman's comments, supervisor comments, and governance comments. I have nothing on my agenda other than to say thank you to the committee members for being here this evening. Good tour of this new building that's going up. Service Kenosha County for many years to come, so just a thank you. I turn it over now to individual supervisors when you have comments. Seeing none, youth and governance, any comments you'd like to make? That area is closed. The next item on our agenda is facilities division special projects. Mr. Frank Martinelli.
If you just want to go find a youth.
I thought I saw him here.
You want to go find it.
So let's do this. Come back and do this presentation. Let's carry on with golf. Go ahead, Jim.
Thank you, Chair Grady. First, just a brief update as of today on rounds. It's really the only update from the report as it's written. We actually did a lot of catching up. As of today, we're at 40,800. As of 6/23, 2024, we're at 41,800. So, as opposed to, as this report is written, shows us we were 2,500 rounds behind last year's record pace. We are now 1,000 rounds behind last year's pace. So that is excellent. Honestly, at 2,500, that was still a really good year. So I expect we will slow down again as it rains this week, but the good weather's been good to us. So I think the main highlight of the report is the update on the storm and the fallout and cleanup after the storm. We were able to reopen all the facilities by Friday, 5/23, so the week after the storm. And again, every other division, parks, highways, facilities, even finance to help us. So without everyone's help, we could not have done that. So, I decided after some discussion with the insurance company, I went out and I assessed the damage hole by hole, created a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet with the diameter by breast height measurement system and sent that off to the insurance company. And last week we received a check, $35,000. Probably a lot of that will be spent on cleanup, and we've tracked everything we've spent internally on cleanup. We're tracking labor hours and equipment usage internally, and then externally we will utilize contractors to help us with some of the, especially we just can't store all that wood on the property.
Sure.
The final number that I counted was 148 trees. I didn't get every one. I didn't go into the thick forested areas. So, roughly 150 trees with ease that were taken out by this storm. So pretty pretty awesome display of nature. And again, big relief is if that would have happened in a residential area, that could have been a really bad deal. So, you know, I was glad we were able to be operating again rather quickly. And, you know, the insurance check will certainly help with the cleanup of some of the bigger stuff that's beyond the.
So in terms of the expenditures to date that we have logged in, what type of numbers are we talking about?
We've had a contractor out 4 times and about 4,000 a pop, and probably, I would say at least another 15,000 on internal, you know, just our labor hours spent and equipment use.
Would you do this just when you get more of a chance to, assess that as time goes along? Just shoot me an email with that so I can have my records.
Absolutely.
Let's break it down as of external contractors, internal hours expended for cleanup, and who's our insurer for that? Do we know that?
It's our county insurance. It's,
Okay. The working group, correct?
EMC.
EMC.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then just include that in the email as well, what they paid to the state, and if we expect any further dealings with them in terms of issue submissions or matters. Carry on with your reports.
Yeah. And you might have mentioned, I missed it, I'm sorry. Did the claimant include lost revenues from no play that week?
We really, so we opened that following day at noon, we opened 18 holes.
Okay.
And then that Saturday, we had 36 holes open. So we really only had additional 9 holes closed for about a week. So, you know, to be honest, what they sent us, I felt was very fair. And it should cover between lost revenue and what we spend on cleaning up. It should cover us fair.
Well, to the benefit of golf and highways and parks and all of the other divisions working together, you had an outing that was which day? Was it Friday or Saturday?
It was Saturday.
Yeah. So it's very likely that with the magnitude of destruction out there, that could have been canceled. Thankfully, with everyone pitching in early intervention, was able to supervisors.
I was out of town. I read about it. How fast were the winds?
We don't really know. I read one, NWS didn't even have a whole lot on it. I mean, it literally only hit Brighton. There's some long property just north of BB there. There's a couple of old rotted pines snapped off there. But it literally, I haven't really seen any other damage outside of
Just
just
like a
Brighton.
wind tunnel coming right through there.
Yeah, and it started in the, what would be the south. That'd be the southwest portion of the property, and it kind of ended at the northeast corner of the property. But it hit stuff all the way on the western edge of the property as well, so.
Did it
I don't know if it was two
mature
direction.
trees or?
Oh, yeah,
mature
old
trees?
mature oaks, young, healthy pines, spruce, it took a spruce tree, probably a 45-foot spruce tree, snapped a Christmas tree, a 10-foot sized Christmas tree right off the top of the spruce tree. Yeah, every kind of, a lot of the like dead standing trees with no leaves that are in the thick of the woods, those are fine, there was no leaves to catch the wind. But yeah, it snapped the whole array of trees out there, every species, everything. Yeah, we lost some really, really nice old oaks.
So to follow up on your question, it was observable that there was some direct, what we interpret to be straight line winds that actually pushed them over. And that's evidence why you see the fall being exposed because it's just pushed right over. But also a fair number of them, but actually the size of the trees, some of them maybe 2 feet in girth, 3 feet in girth, were actually twisted and snapped off the trunk of the tree, maybe 10, 20 feet. So it would have to indicate a good surmise torsional type spinning that made those corkscrew and snap like that. The trunk still being ground.
So was it a tornado?
NWS Milwaukee didn't report any
We don't have
rotation.
anything confirmed, but just looking at the evidence, one might infer that that was the case.
Yeah, and it did hit sort of the heart of the property, you know, near the first green, 9th tee on the blue course, was where it took some very, very large sturdy oak trees down. And that was where the most extensive damage was, right in that spot, so. I don't know if it was straight lines coming from both directions where, because I believe that storm headed toward Waukesha, and I believe if there was some rotation post when it got northeast of us as that storm continued on, so. NWS wasn't even officially reported as NWS. But there's one little blip about it.
What else do you have in the report for us, Jim?
Storage building at Brightendale, I expect those plans any day, and then that over to purchasing, get a pre-bid ready for that. Same with the small paving project over at Brightendale. Yeah, we hope to list those projects, get those out to bid at some point in July.
Okay. Brightendale, fully functional for practice area, driving range, putting green.
Yep, well, the second putting green, the new putting green, we've opened it during the junior golf clinics. And then we've closed it again, with it being cool this spring, this warm weather has really helped the bank grass get moving. So it's very, very close to being ready to be fully open. We assessed the root system 2 weeks ago and it still kind of wasn't sturdy enough, but this warm weather has actually been good for the creeping bank grass.
Questions for our Director of Golf before we move on? Thank you for your report, Jim. I noticed our youth and governance recently just came in. Thank you for making the meeting tonight. Glad to see you on the tour. So please show for the record our second youth and governance attendance. Mr. Martinelli, thank you for going and coordinating on that regard. It's much appreciated. And when you're ready, it is your turn for your report.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The report is as written. Just a quick update. We had the power outage, the first power outage at Brookside. Overall, it went well. That's where We Energies took down because we had a change of service coming in the transformer into Brookside to accommodate the new generator. That'll feed the entire facility. And We Energies also took the opportunity to change the 25,000 volt switch on the road. That also does Brookside, Willowbrook, and Bradford. Unified didn't inform Bradford, but with a couple hours, or within an hour, they were able to accommodate We Energies. So we wanted the power up. We took it down about 8:30, and we wanted it back up. We started at 7:30 a.m. We wanted it back up by 7:30 p.m. Even with that hour delay, we still had the power up by 7 p.m.
Okay.
So that was the first, got the service and everything in line. We're gonna have a second one, but that will only for the things that our generator back up, all the main power to the building will be on. That's just a switch over the old generator, new generator, and we have that scheduled for July 9th.
Would you put that in the email to me just so I have that?
Sure, absolutely.
And then the total time that it was down for Brookside and for Bradford was how many hours?
Well, 8:30 to 7 o'clock, so 10,
So less than
10.5
12.
hours. So we did it under the time we had allotted.
Okay.
So everything else is as written. Any questions?
Anything else in your report besides that?
Pardon me?
Anything else in your report besides the items that you mentioned?
No, everything else is as written.
Okay. Is there any updates on ceremonial courtroom? Anything happening with that is?
Good question. The asbestos that we found underneath the judge's elevated platform where he sits, that's been remediated. We have scaffolding completely up. They gutted the HVAC ductwork and things that were up there to get that out of the way. And they also put in temporary flexible ducts so that the air conditioning that ran through there goes to the other parts of the courthouse can still stay cool, which came in really handy lately. So really it's more drilling, but now we've got the plasterers, the flat plaster, not the ornamental, but the flat plaster kind of around the perimeter. They're going to start next week actually taking all that out. And once that is all out, then that's how we're going to get all the ductwork and the HVAC equipment up there, the scaffolding, things like, or the platforms that they're going to walk on, assemble all that. And then After that's done, they're gonna come back and put acoustical plaster in its place so that it'll help. One of the problems is hearing in that room, so it'll be flat, nobody will know the difference. But it'll be acoustical, which will help the sound in that room along with the speaker system through acoustic.
Acoustical plaster. Well,
That's the same question. I heard that.
heard of such a thing. I thought it was.
Just reflects the sound.
What it does is it doesn't reflect it, it absorbs it. Oh, you don't get that echo, yes.
So maybe just dash off a sentence or two.
Yeah.
So that summing that up. So good questions from Mr. Martinelli regarding facilities, special projects. And governance, any questions from Mr. Martinelli? Thank you for your report. Appreciate it. Take a look at our schedule here. Next item would appear to be Parks Division, Mr. Wyatt.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. No updates to the report. It is as written, but there are some changes from what I presented last month, so I'll walk us through those. So the Kemper Center chapel repairs, we're proceeding with getting the specs done with those. Those are still anticipated to be delivered in September. We just kicked off, going down to item number 2, the what we're calling the facility condition assessment at the Kemper Center, the bone study. So that is underway. The kickoff meeting was last week. So they went through, got to meet all the folks over at Kemper, get acquainted with the executive director, Bob, the maintenance tech over there, so that they have access to everything they need to survey that whole building. The Simmons Gymnasium door, I'm very happy to report, is installed.
We get a cheer, we make a big cheer.
Yes, there we go. We'll call it a victory. There's a few changes to the door in terms of what was originally ordered, but for the most part, it's in. We're going through a few punch list items with Bay Nelson, but nothing they can't take care of. So I met with them last week to walk through what we're looking for. The biggest update I have is the Kemper Center shoreline repair has been added to the report, which has not historically been in the report. So I'm not going to tell the entire story because it'll take quite a bit of time, but the plans were designed for the shoreline restoration back in 2021 from an organization called Baird, and their cost estimate as it stands in today's dollars is at $34 billion, which it's not a number we're super comfortable with. So what we're exploring is we were able to get in touch with Red Barn Engineering, thanks to Greg made the connection from the city. His name is Matthew Wright over at Red Barn, and he did most of the city shoreline repairs. So we're on First Avenue over in Anderson Park and so on. So he's going to give us some cost estimates as well for what an alternative design might be, so that we're not just taking one opinion on the matter. So he's working with us on what his different options might be. So as I get more developments on that, I'll present it to the Public Works Committee, and we are currently going through 2 different options with him, so we'll have 3 to look at when it's all ready. Okay. All right. Moving through to Pike River Phase 3, just an update on where we're at. So that section of the Pike River that's being restored has been sectioned off into 3 parts. So they're essentially going to repeat the same work in 3 different sections, not to be confused with Phase 3. I'm calling it 3 parts of Phase 3. So the first part is halfway done. The water is currently being diverted. And if you walk over by the work site, as long as you stay behind the snow fence, you can actually see the new repaired shoreline and the revetment along the contours of the river. So they're doing an excellent job. I met with the engineer over there today just to look at what they're doing, and CWP, who did the Pike River Phase 2, they're doing everything on time and to the number. So we're really impressed with what they're doing over there. All right. In terms of staffing updates, we still have a few seasonal positions. At this time of year, we're sort of always looking for seasonal positions, but in terms of 1 full-time position, we're still making 1 part-performer. So underneath, it's now event season at the parks. So if you guys are looking for ways to get outside and stay active during the summertime, I have a whole list of events for you through June, and the back page is all events in July. In terms of big events, in July 10th, on that Thursday, we have After Party in the Park, which is a Harley Davidson themed event. We partnered with Visit Kenosha and Hughes Harley Davidson to do it's a ride that they lead from Hughes Harley Davidson to the park. And when the riders show up into the park, there is a band playing, and we have several food trucks out there. So it'll be a big event.
Everybody come on to when on the 10th?
What's that?
What time getting to land on the 10th for that event?
That'll start at 4 and end at 8 o'clock.
So 4 hours.
And that is my report. Okay.
In the Pike River that we're doing.
Yeah.
Part of it is on Pett's property, so you see just behind the, golf course there. How far onto Parkside's property are we going, or are we going on Parkside property?
We are not.
Okay,
So this goes right up to the property.
Okay, so, and that would be for this particular phase, and that would be,
Right. So we're considering this one, when we finish phase three, quote unquote, complete. It is a 6-phase initiative, but in terms of what is being done within Petrifying Springs Park, once we're done with this phase, we'll have restored everything within Petrifying
that
Springs.
is phase 3.
Phase three, correct. So,
There's 3 parts to phase 3.
yes. There you go.
If you would mind, so I'm not taking notes, but I don't have the appropriate material. Just send me a village communique about Insight, and the 2 things they're doing for September, they're doing those evaluations.
Okay.
And just so I know what the progress is, and I can have something to refer to, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make a note of that.
Thing for Mr. Moore relating to parks, committee members, questions, comments. Quite a list of events. Choose from.
Oh, yeah. Something for everybody. One thing I did not mention as well that happened on Friday is we just received a grant to finish the Pike River Phase 3 project from the EPA for $700,000.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
Well, those are no small potatoes, $700,000, that's.
it was a big victory. We've been working on that one in parks since, with the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative since 2023. The very end of 2023 was one of the last things that Matt and I kicked off together before he left. And once he left, I've sort of followed it all the way up to this point. So we're happy to see that one come all the way through.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So just anecdotally, I'll pass this along for the committee. I was out at Hawthorne Hollow for their opening event of the season. They had a band out there. And in their particular area where they have the band just downhill from the seating, they have a small little footbridge across the waterway. And I've been out there in years past, and it was always just the muddy, turbulent, ugly, exposed banks. It was not a very peaceful or happy looking stream. It looked like to be an angry stream because of the way the water had been rushing through there year after year. Topsoil would just cover over everything. Walk out there, and there'd been some rain the week before, and the depth of the water might have been a foot, 18 inches. And it was clear as well. You could see the bottom, you could see the stones, you could see the rocks, you could see the amphibians doing their thing. So just from a sea of advanced observation, what's been done upstream from that, coming into Racine County, result of that. What we're doing upstream is going to feed into that, which is a south branch of the Pike. All has its effect, and it doesn't take, forever for you to see the benefits. I mean, it's visible to the naked eye, so it's a very happy thing to be able to witness it. So it's just sort of interesting.
We got our 3rd youth and governance for this.
Oh, Andrew, correct?
Yes, Andrew.
Welcome. Yes, we got all 3 of them tonight.
Wonderful. Thank you for coming. Just identify yourself for the committee, mention your name.
Hi, my name's Andrew Serta. I'm on 3rd Youth and Governance.
Good, we're glad you're here this evening, and thank you for attending. Further questions or comments for our Director of Parks? Seeing none, thank you very much for your report. We'll turn it over now to Mr. Gregory Holt for highways.
All right, thank you. So we have a couple of resolutions on here that I'll go through first. The first one is for the acceptance of a permanent limited utility easement along County Trunk Highway Q. So it's between Kenosha County and what's known as Route 164 H4 LLC, which is the, I guess, legal name for Uline's headquarters number 4 along 165. So what they want to do is put private fiber optic lines between the different headquarter buildings. And in order to do that, they have to cross County Trunk Highway Q, which is 104th Street, which is a county roadway. So in order, because they're not a utility like We Energies or Midwest Fiber, one of those companies, we do ask that we get an easement from them so that we understand that they have to meet certain criteria for them to be within our right of way with that private fiber optic line. So obviously I would ask for your vote and approval on this, and I'll answer any question you may have.
Who is the fiber optic contractor in this case? Miguel?
They'll hire their own private optic cable company. So we don't dictate who that is, but we dictate that it has to be within this easement area. We need record drawings of exactly where it is. They have to be part of Digger's hotline so that if we ever have to dig in that area, we know it's there. If we have any improvements that need to move that line, they're responsible for moving that line. But we did not dictate who the contractor will be.
So
So
that
that's
would
something
be
they'll hire.
line to hire that entity, it's just we do the regulatory work to make sure it's done properly.
Correct.
Any questions or comments about Supervisor?
You remember the easement issue near my place over on 50? Or probably the restoration didn't occur right when we're getting all that erosion.
Yeah.
Part of, when you say, be sure it's done correctly, include that restoration.
Yeah, so part of that is they have to do, like, there is no cost to the county for this. It is 100% their work. If we don't like something that they restored, they'll have to go back and do it.
You guys inspect it and say,
Yep.
yeah, good.
Is the contractor required to post bond?
No, then we'll get we'll get another work in the right of way permit from them, but that permit did not include a bond.
Any further questions in this particular resolution, easement county? 160.
Move to approve.
Second, further discussion? Take a vote, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Seeing none passes, let's have different governance weighed individually. Aye or nay for yourself?
Aye.
Aye or nay for yourself?
Aye.
Aye or nay for yourself?
Aye.
Youth and governance is unanimous. Aye. Thank you, Greg. Continue.
Yeah, the next resolution is, essentially, there's a Bristol Woods solar project along Contract Highway Q, east of MB. The developer is named One Energy. So what we've asked of our solar project developers is that they contribute money to the degradation of our roadways for traveling with the heavy equipment on county highways. So for this, Bristol Woods solar project, we've agreed to an amount of $40,000. So they will pay us a lump sum of $40,000 for degradation of roadway for future Kenosha County highway repairs. So that's where we are with it. We did come up with a kind of a formula to determine based off size and how many miles they would be working on it. So what we're again requesting approval for is to accept and then give us the ability to expend that $40,000 from the developer due to road degradation.
Good. And this is done somewhat routinely in terms of contractors that may degrade roadways and so forth, because this is accounting somewhat.
Yeah, we're starting to do it a little more often, especially with the solar project farms. There was one out in Wheatland, I think called the Silver Lake. Solar farm was here before I was here, but that one had a degradation fee attached to it. We are working through a different process with the larger Paris solar farm one that is in Paris along B and A in those situations. But we feel like coming to an agreement upfront based on formula is a lot easier.
It's correct. So I'm just going to chime in here. So if you're using governance, what we're talking about is you got a contractor that wants to come in the area. They want to do business in Kenosha County in a certain specific manner. And we know that the equipment they bring in, trucks, trailers and so forth, can have negative impacts on the roadways. So rather than us trying to play catch up and saying, okay, now we want to have you reimburse us for damage you've done, this is intended to go on the front side. So we set a dollar amount. They would put that money available to Kenosha County. So when it came time for us to do the road repairs, we already have that money ready and waiting for us. So it's kind of a short, a long explanation of a short question. Supervisor Meadows.
Is this over a specific period? I mean, this is a lump sum of 40,000, but is this contractual for only for a number of years?
No, they're just gonna give us one lump sum of $40,000 and
Okay.
I can't remember, there's a date, but I believe it's about like September 1st, they have to pay us that $40,000. So we extended that deadline a little bit just to get through the whole process, once we kind of negotiated
I mean,
with.
is there any risk that we're gonna do more than 40,000 in damage from them? I mean,
If we decide that we need more than 40,000.
Yeah, I mean, we can always go back to them. I think it's gonna be tough to do that, but
Okay.
it's also really, what we're finding out, it's really tough to determine how much damage they're really doing to, you know, I'm getting at, we're kind of going through that with the Paris Solar Farm, which we know is a
Yeah.
massive, development, and trying to determine how much damage do they really cost it's really
hard to quantify.
they're going through a pre-road assessment and a post-road assessment, they're spending a lot of money up front, you know, and I think at the end of the day, everyone kind of says this maybe is a better way. It's something we will look forward to with different solar farms or other major projects that maybe they don't need to make roadway improvements because of like expansion, but they're beating up our existing roads, so we'd ask them for some funding based off the amount. There's a big development going in 142 and MB that we may do this with too.
Okay. Contractually, if in some unforeseen circumstance, there would be substantially more than $40,000 in remediation to get done. Would we have access to go back to them and say, look, this event happened, and sure you paid them this amount, but it really costs more than that? Or when they send us the check, is that basically saying, we're not gonna pay anymore, we're closing the case on this? How is that work contractually?
It does kind of close the book a little bit, I'll be honest. I know County Q was just repaid, right, within last year, this section of Q was repaid. If we see a major blowout or something, then I think we would have some reason to go back for them with. But, you know, these roadways that have already been 10, 15 years, you know, I think it'll be a little difficult.
So here's my thought on the matter. It was a smaller amount, you know, $40,000 doesn't sound like a small amount, but in these terms, it really is. I think it's fine. It's not a big deal. However, if we have this situation come up where it was, you know, in the higher numbers, I think it would be incumbent upon us to have written in the contract that we would be able to have some negotiation elements. So not in this case, but in the future.
Yep.
That being said, we have a resolution that's put out there looking for motion.
I just wanted to make a comment too. Do we do this with all companies, or is there something with solar companies that they do more damage typically to roads than other companies?
Well, when you look at different developments, one of the things that we see with solar companies is they don't generate a whole lot of traffic post-construction, right? So typically what we'll do is when a bigger development is coming in, like a distribution center or something, we'll do what's like a traffic impact analysis. So typically that will be, they have to expand our roadway or build turn lanes and that kind of stuff. So we're getting a benefit from them based off roadway expansion, or they may have to reconstruct a section of roadway to meet their needs. And we can prove that, or we use these traffic impact analysis to not, I don't know, force is the right way, but come to an agreement with these developers to say, okay, you're gonna come here, we need you to expand our roadway for us, and then they do that, right? So, and they do that at their cost. So that's where some of these types of developments that don't have a whole lot of traffic post-construction, we look at degradation.
Okay.
Because once you build this, very few trucks come in and out, it's just during the construction aspect.
Okay. Well, thank you for that explanation.
Yep.
May we have a motion for this particular resolution? Someone care to make a motion? Franco moves, second. Supervisor Meadows, second. Further discussion? I don't see any. We're gonna switch it around this time. Youth and governments gets to go first. So you can say aye or nay, you be first up.
I think 40,000 should be enough, so I'll also say aye.
So you say aye. And for committee members, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, say nay. Seeing none, motion passes unanimously. Carry on, Craig.
All right, so then the last resolution is essentially the exact same thing. Same developer, One Energy, is developing the Strawberry Creek Solar Project, which is along County Trunk Highway D, just north of K. So north of K, along County Trunk Highway D. And in this one, the the agreement that we've come to is, $45,000 based off more miles on our roadway and size of the actual solar. Right, so we took this formula, miles versus acreage, and said this is, so, asking for approval to, accept and expend $45,000, for future roadway improvements.
Since we've been through the previous resolution and much of the verbiage is the same, unless there's questions, I'd ask for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Supervisor Conlon moves, second Supervisor Gregg, discussion. Seeing none, we'll do the same thing. Youth and governance, aye or no?
Aye.
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 Committee members, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Anything else for your report, Greg? You got things on your item?
I got the division report, again, fairly detailed, kind of getting into that summer construction season. Fully transitioned from snow, yes, fully transitioning into summer now. We have paving, our crews have paved County Trunk Highway P, from State Highway 50 north to JB. Doing a lot of those summer projects, mowing, ditching, that kind of stuff that we do in the summer. Very busy with those. Also, the state highway crews are doing that a lot of that same stuff. Just so everyone's aware, with state highways, we're only allowed to mow those, the side of the road once per year. And it has to be done by July 1st. So we're in that mode right now. But we know we get a lot of people want more mowings along state highways. Per contract with the DOT, we want to do it once per year. Now we'll look at vision triangles and that kind of stuff. We'll do some touch up, but full mowings of along the roadside can only happen once per year for this contract with the state.
Do they ever make exception to that if it gets a lot of rain and goes up again, or they don't?
Not typically.
Okay.
Not typically. So, that's kind of, again, doing a lot of those summer maintenance projects now. Fleet wise, we do have the 2 single axle trucks delivered, now being set up, both set up in service. And the 2 triaxle trucks, at the body builder to be built, delivery still in fourth quarter of 25, first quarter of 26. We did have, 1-ton truck orders canceled because they can't find wheels. What? The manufacturer of wheels, the actual wheel, something happened. So they canceled all 1-ton truck orders. So basically what it means is we ordered 2025 models, 2026 models might start getting rolled out here in the next couple of weeks. We'll probably end up ordering 26 models. We'll have to see what that does budget wise.
That's wheels for a 1-ton dump.
Yes, just any 1-ton truck,
That's a pretty
it's gotta be
standard.
2,500.
That's weird.
You can get regular ones, but not 2,500 like that 1-ton size. So yeah, so just the life of a fleet, shop superintendent and ordering equipment. If it's not chips, it's wheels, it's something else. Outside of that, contract highway KD, these radar signs, they've been installed. We are confirming the calibration on the messaging. We were just out there today confirming that. Contract highway C, a multi-use path between 120th Avenue and 136th, is pretty much done now. They're just doing some restoration. Outside of that, I don't have a whole lot else. Staffing, we did hire 1 new highway patrol worker, started in the beginning of June. And so at this point, mechanic wise, we are fully staffed. We did have 1 resignation or separation in the highway patrol division. So that leaves us, currently 2 highway patrol open positions, 1 civil engineer, and then 1 mechanic slash fleet inventory specialist.
Okay, so you still have 1 vacancy for mechanic?
Yes. But we're transitioning into a different type of job, and that'll come through the budget. Okay, it's more of a fleet inventory versus someone that's on the floor. Okay.
Anything else in your report?
That is awesome.
Any questions, comments for our directors of highways, for our director of highways? Seeing none, thank you. Thank you for your report this month. Next up, Mr. Mascherino with his division.
Thank you, Chairman.
most part, the report is written, a few updates. Courthouse entrance and ramp renovation projects, those are in the punch list, just a few items remaining, for the most part, everything completed. We need to clean up some wells that weren't aesthetically pleasing, some caulking on the roof, just some very minor stuff. So those two projects are all wrapped up. The Brookside carpet and windowsill replacement project, we had a pre-construction meeting today, with the two vendors, the windowsill contractor and the carpet contractor. We're looking at August 1st for a start date. We're a little bit of a lead time from the millwork on the windowsills. That project will be over a year of construction. They're trying to be less intrusive to the residents as possible. We're talking about doing like 2 rooms a week for the next year to try to get all those done. So the meeting went well, and contractors they're all in on it, so August 1st for that start date, hopefully, depending on the lead time. And then, update on staffing, so we're almost all filled up. We hired all the seasonals, or it started, all the custodians at the safety building, all those have been filled. We had one employee movement from Brookside to the Civic Center, so those roles are filled at the courthouse. And we did fill 1 role at Brookside, so we only have 1 tech position open. So big month of hiring. Other than that, that's all I got. If there's any questions.
So for youth and governance, I made a special point for each division to give us an update on personnel where we're at with our hiring. You may have heard the term that you're only as good as your people, or you're only as good as your employees. Ocean County is in a competitive race, if you will, to hire people and retain people that are good workers. Now you look at your Uline, Amazon, employers like that. So that's what you'll see as part of each person's report is doing this, the employment status. So it's good news, man. You made big strides in filling some of those vacancies, and happy to hear that. Questions for Mr. Storino regarding this department, this division? Seeing none, thank you very much for your report. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Who is handling our directors of public works report?
Okay, I got it. So Shelley wanted me to let everybody know that KCC renovation should be 30% planned by late July. And then the GIS specialist has been advertised. It's been open in about 2 weeks. It closes July 1st. As of Wednesday of last week, there had already been 15 applicants, so we're hoping for a pretty decent sized pool. And they're hoping to have that person start sometime in early to mid-August.
Okay. Anything else?
All I got.
Sure.
Yep.
No, thanks for the report. That's good to know. So I just wanted to ask you for a second, Matt. 4 facilities, what about the flooring in the food service area, cafeteria area of Brookside? That was something we looked at before. Yes, Steve said that.
So we're still in design phase of that. I think we're hoping to have like a 50 to 60% drawing set like this, and by end of this week. We're in the works with Corporation Council looking at MOU put together between Kemper Inc., Unidine Food, and Kenosha County, so that we could use the Kemper kitchen if we need to cook food during the week for the residents.
Oh, really?
Because the main kitchen will be out of service during that construction phase.
So that would be somewhat of an inconvenience to have to cook it at Kemper and bring it to Brookside.
Yes, so the main change will be pre-made meals, right? So they're gonna go to a lot of pre-made meals, but if they can incorporate cooking some
Okay.
big protein
I got you.
stuff there.
Very well. Seeing no further business that I'm looking at here. Move to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Second to adjourn.
Supervisor Meadows, second Supervisor Donald. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Stand adjourned. Thank you.